Los Angeles, California. The city where dreams burn too bright and hearts freeze too quickly. A tall glass tower stabbed the sky like it owned the sun. Hartman Industries. The kingdom of the most feared and desired CEO in the country. Alexander Hartman. Age 32. Cold, sharp, rich enough to buy the whole block. A face sculpted by angels who clearly liked dangerous men. Employees whispered that he didn't smile, didn't laugh, didn't tolerate mistakes. And didn't like people. Except one. The elevator dinged, and Madeline Reyes stepped out with her coffee in one hand, phone in the other, and absolutely zero fear in her eyes. Black pencil skirt. White blouse. Red lipstick. And an energy that said, I can ruin your ego in under 5 seconds, try me. The office parted like the Red Sea. Good morning, Maddie, the employees whispered like she was the chosen one. Morning, she chirped, sipping her coffee. Anyone die today yet? Not yet. Give it time, she said. Boss hasn't spoken to anyone before his caffeine. Everyone exhaled like she had blessed the office with hope. Because only Madeline, beautiful, sarcastic, efficient, fearless, could handle Alexander Hartman without crying, quitting, or hiding under a desk. She walked straight to the CEO's private floor, swiped her badge, and the frosted glass door slid open with a soft hiss. Good morning, boss, she announced, strolling inside like she owned the place. Alexander Hartman looked up. Tall, broad-shouldered, suit worth more than her monthly rent, jaw sharp enough to slice through ice. Eyes cold, steel blue, except when he looked at her. Then they warmed. Barely. Secretly. Quietly. Maddie, he said, voice low and rich, you're late. It's literally 8:59, she said, sitting down. Cry about it. He stared at her. She stared back. He cracked the smallest smile. So small only she could catch it. Your attitude, he murmured, is going to get you fired. And your face, she shot back, is going to get you worshipped. Too bad it's attached to Satan's personality. His eyebrow twitched. That was his version of laughter. She was the only one who could roast him and survive. And the only one he wanted to hear it from. 2 years earlier. Madeline wasn't supposed to get the job. Alexander hated interviews. He hated talking. He hated people who tried too hard to impress him. Then she walked in. Nice office, she said, sitting down before he invited her. But the waiting room, boring, you should fire whoever decorated it. He blinked slowly. No one had ever spoken to him like that. You're bold, he said. Nope, she corrected. I'm honest, you want a secretary or a cheerleader. He leaned back, observing her. Most candidates trembled. She lounged like she owned his office. Tell me why you want this job, he asked. I don't, she said. He stiffened. I want the salary and the benefits and your company's reputation on my resume, she smiled sweetly, but you need someone who can handle your personality. My personality. Your charm level is somewhere between glacier and unfriendly cat. He stared. She stared. Then he burst out laughing, an actual laugh, sharp and surprised. You're hired. She blinked. Wait, seriously. Yes. Damn, I should have asked for a higher salary. He smirked. He had fallen just a little right then. Not enough to admit it, but enough to know she was different. Back to present. Alexander watched as Madeline typed on her laptop, humming softly. She crossed her legs, he looked away. She sipped her latte, he looked away again. She tapped her pen against her lips, he stopped pretending he wasn't staring. She noticed. Stop looking at me like you're planning to auction my soul. Not your soul, he murmured. She froze. He smirked slow, wicked. Just a hint of naughty. What is that supposed to mean, she asked. That you're distracting today. I'm literally sitting here existing. Exactly. She paused, cheeks warming. He enjoyed that a bit too much. Focus, boss, she said, tossing a file at him. Sign these. He didn't look. He kept watching her. How do you handle me so easily? He asked suddenly. She shrugged. Someone has to keep you human. His chest tightened. He didn't want to think about it. He didn't want to admit the truth. He was falling for her. Badly. Deeply. Helplessly. Later that day, the finance director walked in nervously. Mr. Hartman, we. Speak faster, Alexander said. The director turned pale. Madeline rolled her eyes. Oh my God, relax. You look like he's about to tax your breathing. Alexander shot her a warning look. She ignored it. As usual. Deep breaths, she told the terrified man. Mr. Hartman isn't that scary. I am, Alexander corrected. Oh, totally, she replied, but only on the outside. Inside you're like a grumpy golden retriever. Alexander's jaw dropped a little. The finance director choked. Maddie. Yes. Stop calling me a dog. I didn't say dog, she tilted her head. I said retriever, very different, very cute. His ears turned slightly red. The finance director whispered later, how are you still alive? Secret, she whispered back, he likes me. She didn't see Alexander standing behind them, hearing every single word. He smiled. A real smile. One no one else would ever see. That night after she left, Alexander sat alone in his dark office. The city lights glowed outside, but his thoughts were louder. Her smile, her sarcasm, her fearlessness, her warmth. She was everything he shouldn't want, but everything he couldn't stop wanting. He loosened his tie, imagining how she would tease him for it. You look like a CEO in a perfume commercial, she would say. And he would say, only because you're looking at me. He rubbed his forehead. He was in trouble. The cold CEO was falling. Slow. Hard. And only for the one woman who treated him like he wasn't a king, but just a man. A man she could roast. A man she could handle. A man she didn't fear. And God, he wanted her to handle him more. The next morning, Madeline strutted into the building like she carried the sun in her bag. Coffee in her hand. Confidence in her walk. Chaos in her blood. Everyone braced themselves. Because whenever Madeline arrived with that kind of energy, something interesting happened. She reached the private floor and opened the CEO's door without knocking. Boss, your day is... She stopped. Alexander was already standing there, holding out a fresh cup of her favorite caramel latte with whipped cream. She blinked. What is this? She asked. Coffees. For me. For the only person who keeps this company from collapsing, he said flatly. She stared at the cup. Then at him. Then at the cup again. No, she narrowed her eyes. You did something wrong. He raised a brow. Excuse me. You only bring people coffee when you're guilty or dying. I'm not dying. Then you did something wrong. He sighed, defeated. Maddie, just take the coffee. She suspiciously took it and sipped. Her eyes widened. You remembered the extra cream. Of course. That's creepy. It's literally written on your desk. Oh, she blinked. Fair point. Alexander smirked, quietly proud. He turned away, but she caught it. That tiny warmth in his expression. Don't get soft on me, boss, she teased. Don't flatter yourself, he replied. But the way he looked at her said something else entirely. Later that afternoon, HR knocked nervously on her desk. Madeline, can we talk? She frowned. Did someone complain about my mouth again? Endos. Then, the HR manager whispered, is there something going on between you and Mr. Hartman? Madeline choked on her coffee so hard she almost died. What? No, why would you think that? The HR manager gestured dramatically. He looks at you like he feels things. We didn't know he could feel things. Madeline covered her face. Oh my God. And yesterday he actually smiled at you, HR continued. A smile from him, do you know how rare that is? People in this building would sell their kidneys to see that. Okay, relax, she hissed. He's my boss, I just keep him from murdering people. And he brought you coffee, HR whispered dramatically. She froze. Someone is definitely in love. Madeline stood up so fast her chair almost rolled away. Nope, absolutely not. There's no romance in this office. Zero, none. HR muttered, sure, keep lying, and walked off. But as Madeline sat down, she couldn't stop thinking about it. No, there was no way. Alexander. Falling for her. Ridiculous. Impossible. Maybe. No. She shook her head violently. She was imagining things. Totally imagining things. Then Alexander walked out of his office holding a file. His eyes scanned the room until they landed on her. His entire posture relaxed. She straightened. Okay, that was suspicious. Come inside, he said. His voice was softer than usual. Too soft. HR peeked from the corner with heart-shaped eyes. Madeline glared at her, then followed him in. Inside the office, Alexander leaned over her desk. Too close. Too tall. Too much. I need your opinion, he said, sliding the file toward her. My opinion on work, or your personality. Work, my personality doesn't need your help. It does, she muttered. He moved closer. What was that? He asked, voice low and dangerous. She swallowed. Hard. He was inches away. Close enough for her to smell his cologne, clean, expensive, masculine. Her heart did a traitorous little flip. Get it together, Madeline. She looked at the file. She tried to focus. But Alexander leaned even closer, placing one hand on her chair, the other on the desk. She froze like a startled cat. Mr. Hartman, she said slowly, you're violating my oxygen space. You're what? Your body is committing trespassing. He smirked. Do you want me to move? I want you to stop being tall. That's not possible. Then stop being you. Also not possible. Her breathing went uneven. He noticed. His eyes darkened. Maddie, he murmured, you're blushing. No, I'm overheating because you're blocking all the air in this room. He chuckled, low, soft, secretly intimate. She hated how much she liked that sound. Why are you so close? She demanded. Because, he said, voice dropping, you always run away when I get close. She stilled. Her heart stopped. I don't run, she whispered. You do. And what do you expect me to do? He held her gaze. Stay. Her stomach flipped into her throat. She swallowed again. Alex. He froze. You called me Alex. She gasped. Oh no, oh hell no, did I just... Yes, he said, stepping even closer. Say it again. No. Maddie. Nope. Maddie. She covered her face. Why are you like this? His voice lowered to a dangerous, playful whisper. Because you're the only one I want to be like this with. Her breath caught. The world stopped. For a moment they were just two people standing too close, breathing the same air, wanting something neither of them could say. But the knock on the door shattered everything. Alexander stepped back instantly, jaw clenched. Madeline practically fell back into her chair. The spell broke. But not completely. An hour later, Madeline was escorting a visiting executive. Young, handsome, overly charming. Through the office. Wow, he said, smiling at her. You're much prettier than the last secretary they sent. Mr. Hartman must appreciate having you around. Madeline laughed politely. He appreciates my work. The man winked. I bet he appreciates more than that. Behind them, a cold voice sliced the air. He doesn't. Madeline turned. Alexander stood there, suit impeccable, eyes burning a hole through the man. Mr. Hartman, the executive gulped. I was just leaving, Alexander said. The man fled. Madeline crossed her arms. Really? What? You scared him. He was annoying me. He was literally speaking. Exactly. She glared. Are you seriously jealous? No. You so are. I'm not. You glared at him like he stole your $1 million pen. He was staring at you, Alexander said, stepping closer, not realizing how possessive he sounded. And he was flirting. Relax, it was harmless. It was. It bothered me. Silence. She softened. Alex. He froze again. She smacked her face. I did it again. He smiled, slow, wicked, intimate. I like when you say my name. Well, I don't, she muttered. You will. She blinked. Why are you being weird? He leaned slightly closer. Because you let other men flirt with you. That's called social interaction. And you smile at them. That's called being polite. His voice dropped. And you never smile at me like that. She stared. Speechless. For once she had no comeback. No roast. No sass. He took her silence as victory. Then he walked back into his office, leaving her a melting. That evening, she was gathering her things when he stepped out. Are you leaving? He asked. Yes. I'll walk you out. She blinked. You don't walk anyone out. I'm walking you out. Why? He hesitated. Then answered quietly. Because I want to. Her heart thumped. They rode the elevator together, the air thick, charged, almost shaky. As they reached the lobby, he looked down at her. Madeline. Yes. He swallowed. Then asked in a voice far too soft for the man the world feared. What exactly are we? She froze. He waited. She opened her mouth. But nothing came out. He gave a faint smile, sad, hopeful, vulnerable. Think about it, he murmured. Then he walked away, leaving her breathless, confused, and more affected than she wanted to admit. The next day, Madeline walked into the office with a coffee and a headache. Everyone stared at her. Whispered. Pointed. She groaned. What now? Her friend from HR popped up like a meerkat. Did you two fight? Madeline blinked. No, why? He's been different, HR whispered. Like different. Define different. HR sighed dramatically. He walked in looking human. Madeline snorted. Impossible. And he didn't yell at anyone yet. That's suspicious. And this is the biggest shock. He complimented the IT intern on fixing something. Madeline choked. Alexander Hartman complimented someone voluntarily. Yes, HR cried. So we all assumed you two must have fought. You're basically his emotional Wi-Fi. My what? If you're down, he has no signal. Oh my God, Madeline muttered. I hate it here. She stormed to the private floor, threw open the CEO office door. And froze. Alexander looked up immediately, voice soft. Maddie. She blinked. You okay? He asked. The entire office outside gasped. Because Alexander Hartman never asked anyone if they were okay. Madeline pointed at him. Stop doing that. Doing what? Being gentle. I'm not. You are. I'm not gentle, he insisted. Then why are you looking at me like I'm a broken kitten? His jaw clenched. He looked away. I'm not, he said again, quieter. Alex, people think we fought. Because I didn't yell today. Yes. Ridiculous. It's true. He pinched the bridge of his nose. This is your fault. My fault. You make me calm. Her heart tripped. He held her gaze. And I don't know what to do with that. She swallowed so hard it hurt. Without another word, she entered the office and shut the door before her heart jumped out of her chest. They were going through contract files when Madeline leaned over his desk to point at a paragraph. No, see this clause here. Her hand accidentally brushed his. She froze. He froze. Electricity. Instant. Dangerous. Undeniable. His breath caught. So did hers. She tried to pull away. He caught her wrist. Maddie. His voice was low, deeper than she had ever heard it. Her heart was racing so hard she felt it in her neck. She whispered, Alex, let go. He didn't. His thumb brushed her skin once. Gentle, warm, deliberate. Her knees nearly gave out. Don't run from me, he said quietly. I'm not running, she lied. You always run when it gets serious. She tried to speak, but his gaze, intense, focused, wanting, made her forget how to breathe. Alex, he let go first, but not because he wanted to, because if he didn't, he wouldn't stop. They went to lunch for a meeting, strictly business. Madeline kept repeating that in her head. Strictly business, strictly business, strictly. Alexander held the door open for her. Thanks, she murmured. He stared at her like she just thanked him for saving the world. You never thank me, he said. You never hold the door. Maybe I should. She raised a brow. Next you'll say you can smile. He smirked. Don't push your luck. They sat down. She noticed immediately. Their waiter was staring at her a little too long. Alexander noticed too. And he didn't like it. At all. When the waiter came back with the menus, he smiled at her again. Anything else I can get you, miss? Madeline smiled politely. No, thank you. Alexander's voice dropped a full octave. She's fine. The waiter blinked. I was just... She's fine, Alexander repeated, eyes cold. The waiter backed away. Madeline crossed her arms. You scared the poor guy. He was staring at you. So he has eyes. Eyes that should be looking at the menu, not you. Are you seriously jealous again? He didn't look at her. That was answer enough. Madeline leaned closer, whispering slowly. You know, you're kind of cute when you're insecure. His head snapped toward her. Insecure. Memmers. I'm not insecure. You are. I'm not. She grinned. Then why do you look like you want to fire the waiter 34 times? I don't want to fire him. Oh, I want him to stop looking at you. She exhaled sharply. That was actually kind of hot. On the drive back they were silent for a while. Not awkward. Not tense. Just heavy. Madeline looked out of the window. Alex. He glanced over. Yes. What are we even doing? He gripped the wheel. Hard. I don't know, he admitted, but it's not nothing. She didn't speak. He continued, voice low and raw. You're the only person who gets under my skin, who makes me think, who makes me laugh, who makes me... He stopped. Makes you what? She whispered. He swallowed. Makes me feel. Her breath hitched. But I'm your secretary, she whispered. So, he replied instantly, almost sharply, that doesn't change what I feel. It makes things messy. I don't care. You should. I don't. He slowed the car at a red light. Turned toward her. really looked at her. "I want you, Maddie." Her lips parted. He leaned forward. Just a bit. So close she could feel his breath on her cheek. Her pulse thundered. "Say something," he murmured. "I'd..." Her words tangled. The light turned green. He forced himself back, eyes forward, jaw tight. Neither spoke the rest of the ride. But everything between them had already shifted. That evening, she was packing up when he walked out of his office. "Let me drive you," he said. "I can take an Uber. I'm offering to drive you." "Why?" He stepped closer. "Because it lets me spend more time with you." Her breath caught. "Alex." He reached out, slow, hesitant. His fingers brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. She froze. He wasn't supposed to touch her like that. Not gently. Not sweetly. Not like she mattered. But he did. "Maddie," he whispered. Her eyes lifted to his. His face was inches from hers. He leaned down. She didn't move. He came closer. Closer. The elevator dinged. They sprang apart like guilty teenagers. 2 employees walked out, staring. Madeline cleared her throat, grabbed her bag, and practically sprinted away. Behind her, Alexander stood completely frozen. Hands clenched. Jaw tight. Eyes dark. Because he had almost kissed her. And he was pretty sure. She would have let him. Madeline tried to act normal the next morning. She walked into the building, chin up, coffee in hand, telling herself, "We did not almost kiss. We did not almost ruin everything. It was just a moment. A stupid, breath-stealing, heart-melting moment. That's all." But the second she reached the private floor, she found Alexander already standing outside his office. Waiting for her. Hands in pockets. Tie slightly loose. Eyes fixed on her like she was the only one in the building. Her heart performed a somersault she did not approve of. "Good morning," she said carefully. He took a step toward her, the kind of step that felt intentional. Maddie. Just her name. But the way he said it. Deep. Rough. Warm. Possessive. She raised a hand. "No, don't do that." "Do what?" "Say my name like you're about to make a bad decision." "Who says it's a bad decision?" Her breath hitched. He smirked, slow, sinful, dangerous. She panicked. "Do not flirt this early. It's 9 a.m. "I'm not flirting." "You are." "I'm talking." "You're talking like you want to kiss me in the supply room." His jaw flexed. "That's not the worst idea." Her soul left her body. "Nope, nope," she held a file between them like a shield. "We are working, we are professional, we are." He leaned closer. "Are we?" Her voice died. He whispered, "Because I can't stop thinking about last night, and I know you can't either." Her face heated. He saw it. He liked it. Before she could respond, the phone rang. She jumped like she'd been electrocuted and ran to her desk. Alexander closed his eyes, exhaling, frustrated, wanting, losing control. This was getting harder to hide. By noon, half the office had invented 47 theories about their relationship. The boldest one. They were secretly dating. The most dramatic one. They had eloped in Vegas. The funniest one. Madeline had hypnotized him. When she walked to the break room, the gossip stopped abruptly. People stared at her like she had magic powers. She grabbed a muffin. "What?" Silence. Then the intern, absolutely terrified but brave enough, whispered, "Did you tame him?" "Tame WHO?" He pointed at the CEO's glass office. Alexander was standing inside, watching her. Not subtly. Not politely. Not professionally. His gaze was intense, warm, focused entirely on her. Madeline choked on air. "Oh my God," she muttered, "stop staring at me." He slightly raised a brow, like he'd heard her despite the glass wall. A few people gasped. He smiled, someone shrieked. "No, he didn't," she muttered. He smiled, they insisted. Madeline stormed back to her desk. Alexander opened his office door. "Yes," he asked innocently. "You're scaring the staff." "I didn't say anything." "You stared." "I always stare at you." Her pulse tripped. She pointed a finger at him. "Stop." He took a step closer. "Make me." She nearly died on the spot. That afternoon, someone knocked on her desk. A woman, tall, gorgeous, perfectly dressed, stood there. "Is this where Alexander Hartman's secretary sits?" she asked. Madeline blinked. "Yes." The woman smiled. "Perfect, I'm Melissa Hartman, his sister." Madeline almost choked. "Oh, hi, nice to meet you." Melissa slid into the chair across her, leaned in and whispered. "So, are you the one he likes?" Madeline nearly fell off her seat. "What, no?" Melissa smiled knowingly. "I'll take that as a yes." "No," Madeline insisted. "I mean no. "You're really cute when you panic," Melissa giggled. "No wonder he's obsessed." "He is not obsessed," Madeline hissed. Melissa tapped her cheek. "He didn't tell you." "Tell me what?" "That he asked me to meet you." Madeline froze. Why would he do that?" Melissa grinned. "To see if I think you're good for him." Madeline's brain shut down. Then Melissa stood up. "I approve." Before Madeline could scream from shock, Alexander appeared behind them. "Melissa." She smirked. "Brother." Madeline stared at them like she was watching a TV show. Alexander placed a hand on Madeline's desk, too close to her hand. "Why are you here?" he asked Melissa. "I wanted to meet your girl." Madeline almost fainted. Alexander's ears turned red. "She's not." "Please," Melissa snorted. "You talk about her more than you talk about your board members." "Melissa." Madeline looked at him, stunned. "You talk about me." Alexander closed his eyes, as if regretting his entire existence. Melissa giggled and left, blowing him a kiss. "Have fun, lovebirds." When she disappeared around the corner, Madeline whispered, "You talk about me." Alexander didn't look at her, but his voice was soft. "Too much." Hours later, the office was empty. Madeline stayed late to finish reports. Alexander stayed because she stayed. He walked out of his office slowly. She didn't notice. She was typing, chewing her lip, focused. He leaned against the doorway and watched her. Her hair falling around her face. Her lashes down. Her fingers moving quickly. He shouldn't stare. He shouldn't want her. He shouldn't break the line again. But he was done pretending. "Maddie," he said quietly. She looked up. And he knew. He wasn't going to be able to hold back much longer. "Yes," she asked softly. He walked toward her, slow, deliberate. She swallowed. "Alex." He stopped only inches away. "You drive me insane," he murmured. Her breath hitched. "I didn't do anything. You exist. That's not my fault." "It is." His hands clenched at his sides. "Every day I try to act normal around you," he continued, "and every day I fail." She stood from her chair, heart pounding. "Alex, I'm tired of pretending I don't want you." She froze. He stepped closer. Close enough to feel his warmth. Close enough to lose her mind. Her voice came out weak. "You can't say things like that." "Why not?" "Because I won't know how to answer." "Then let me make it easier." He reached out. Not grabbing. Not pulling. Just touching her wrist gently. The same place he had touched before. Her pulse was racing beneath his fingers. He leaned down. Just a little. Her lips parted. Tell me to stop, he whispered. She didn't. He moved closer. Madeline, he breathed, voice breaking. She felt her entire world tilt. She whispered, Alex. And then, his forehead touched hers. Not a kiss. Not yet. But intimate. Close. A confession without words. He exhaled shakily. I think I'm falling in love with you. Her entire body stilled. Her lips trembled. Alex. He pulled back just enough to see her eyes. Say something, he whispered. But she couldn't. She wasn't ready. Her heart was, but her fear was. He closed his eyes. And for the first time, she saw something like pain flicker across his face. I shouldn't have said it, he murmured. He stepped back. Cold again. Guarded again. Go home, Maddie. She swallowed hard. Alex. Go, he said softly, before I do something we can't undo. She wanted to hold him. She wanted to kiss him. She wanted to say she felt it too. But fear won. So she picked up her bag and walked away. She didn't see him watching her. Didn't hear his whisper when the door closed. I meant every word. Madeline barely slept. She replayed Alexander's words all night. I think I'm falling in love with you. Go before I do something we can't undo. She tossed, turned, panicked, blushed, panicked again. When she reached the office, she took a deep breath and stepped onto the private floor. Alexander was there, already staring at her. His tie was on, his suit perfect, his expression unreadable. Her heart trembled. Good morning, she whispered. He nodded. Morning. Cold. Calm. Professional. Too professional. She sat at her desk, feeling the weight of his unsaid words pressing between them. Finally she said, about yesterday. No, he cut in. She blinked, no. Not now. I think we should talk. Maddie, he said quietly, if you talk about it right now, I might lose control again. Her breath caught. He loosened his tie slightly, frustrated. I need to work, you need to work, so for today we pretend. She swallowed. Pretend what? That nothing happened. She nodded. Okay. But neither of them believed that. Not even for a second. It lasted exactly 1 hour. 1 hour of fake normals. 1 hour of pretending they were fine. Then a junior lawyer entered her desk area, smiling too widely. Ms. Reyes, could you help me with this file? Madeline got up, walking with him to a nearby table to check a contract. They stood close, too close. She didn't notice. Alexander did. From inside his office, he watched like a storm waiting to explode. The junior pointed to a clause. Madeline leaned in. He leaned in slightly too. And that was it. Alexander stood, walked out and said coldly, She's busy. Madeline blinked. Alex. Mr. Hartman, he corrected sharply. Her stomach flipped. The junior lawyer froze. Sir. She's not available, Alexander repeated, jaw tight. I just needed. I don't care, find someone else. The junior ran. Madeline glared. Seriously. Alexander turned to her, voice low. I said I couldn't pretend. But you were being ridiculous. He stepped closer. You were standing too close. We were reading a file. I don't like it. Not your business. He looked away, jaw ticking. Everything about you is my business. Her heart betrayed her with a hard thump. Alex. He softened just a little. Come inside, he said quietly. She followed him in, closing the door. Inside, he leaned against his desk. Not sitting. Not packing. Just standing there like a man fighting himself. Maddie, he started, voice strained. I don't regret what I said. Her breath caught. But I do regret saying it when you weren't ready. She looked down. I wasn't expecting it. He nodded. I knows. And it scared me. I knows. But, she whispered, I didn't hate hearing it. His head snapped up. Her eyes met his. Opened. Vulnerable. Not running. He stepped closer. How much didn't you hate it? He asked, voice dropping. She swallowed. Enough to think about it all night. His expression shifted, heat, hope, hunger, all mixed into something dangerous. He reached up slowly, giving her every chance to pull away. She didn't. His fingers touched her cheek. Madeline. She leaned into his palm. Just a little. He sucked in a breath. You're killing me, he whispered. Her voice shook. You're killing me too. Silence. A heavy, electric, trembling silence. Then, she stepped back. He froze. I can't jump into something without thinking, she whispered. I'm not built like that. He nodded slowly. I won't rush you, he said quietly, but I won't lie about how I feel. He looked down at her hand. Then very carefully he reached out and laced his pinky with hers. Not a full handhold. Just a pinky. Soft. Gentle. A promise. Her breath shuddered. I'll wait, he whispered. And she believed him. Things should have calmed down. They didn't. Because an hour later, a charming marketing consultant arrived for a meeting. He was handsome, tall, smooth, and the second he saw Madeline, he lit up like a Christmas tree. Wow, he said, you must be the famous Madeline, I've heard about you. She laughed politely, I hope good things. The best, he grinned, you're even prettier in person. She blushed. This was harmless flirting. Totally harmless. Alexander walked out of his office. Oh no. The consultant smiled at him. Mr. Hartman, I was just complimenting your assistant. She doesn't need your compliments, Alexander said flatly. The consultant blinked. I was only. She's busy. Madeline smacked her forehead. Here we go again. Actually, she cut in quickly, I can show him the presentation file. No. Alexander's voice dropped. She stays here. The consultant raised both hands in surrender. Okay, not a problem. He walked toward the conference room. Alexander stepped close to her. Very close. Why were you smiling like that? He whispered. He was being polite. He was flirting. You're jealous again. Correct. You need therapy. You're my therapy. She rolled her eyes. Ridiculous man. He smirked. You like it. She shoved her files in front of him. Work. Yes, ma'am, he said low and teasing. Her knees went weak. They left late again. The lobby was empty. Lights dim. The city glowing outside. Let me drive you, he said. She opened her mouth to protest. He added gently, please. Her protest died. They stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed, the quiet settled between them, heavy and intimate. He looked at her. Not like her boss. Not like a CEO. But like a man who'd been waiting too long. She looked away. Alex, you're scared, he said softly. Her breath caught. But you're not running. She swallowed. I don't want to run. He stepped closer. Her back met the elevator wall. He froze an inch away, making sure he wasn't trapping her. "Touch me," he whispered. Her heart tripped. "What? If you're scared, touch me first, not the other way around." Her hand trembled. Slowly she lifted it and pressed it to his chest. His breath hitched. He closed his eyes. "You feel that?" he murmured. His heart beat. Hard. Fast. Loud. "For you." She trembled. He opened his eyes. "Now it's my turn." He slowly wrapped his arms around her. Not grabbing. Not pulling. Just holding her like she was something precious. Her body melted into his without permission. His voice was a whisper against her hair. "I'm not asking for an answer yet." She nodded against his chest. "I just need you to stop pretending you don't feel this too." Her fingers curled into his shirt. That was her answer. And he understood. He held her tighter. Not kissing. Not pushing. Just holding. For him, this was more intimate than a kiss. For her, it was everything. When the elevator reached the lobby, they didn't move. Neither wanted to let go. But finally he whispered, "Let's go home." And she followed him out, her heart no longer fighting him. The next day, Madeline woke up with a strange combination of peace and panic in her chest. Peace because of how he held her. Panic because... What now? She dressed for work slowly, choosing a soft blue blouse, simple yet pretty. She wasn't sure why, but part of her wondered if he'd notice. When she stepped into the office, Alexander was already there. Standing at her desk. Waiting. She froze. He looked at her like he'd been impatiently counting every second until she arrived. "Morning," he said softly. Not cold. Not CEO voice. Her voice. "Morning," she whispered. His eyes flicked over her blouse. "You look..." He stopped, clearing his throat. She hid a smile. Like an employee who is 10 minutes early. He exhaled, almost annoyed that she didn't let him finish. "Like trouble," he muttered. Her heart did a backflip. She rolled her eyes. "Relax." "Impossible." He stepped closer, too close for morning professionalism. "Last night," he said quietly, "I'm not taking it back. I didn't ask you to. And I'm not pretending anymore." Her breath caught. "Alex, you held onto me first," he whispered. "That meant something." She felt heat rush to her cheeks. Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. He looked down. His expression changed instantly, sharp, irritated. Madeline frowned. "What's wrong?" He shut off the screen. "Nothing we can't handle." But she felt it. Something shifted. A new tension she didn't understand yet. By noon, the problem walked into the office. Tall. Blonde. Perfect. Wearing a sharp power suit and a smile that could melt titanium. "Mr. Hartman," she said warmly, shaking his hand, "it's been a long time." Madeline blinked. "Long time." Alexander's voice was neutral. "Charlotte, welcome back." "Back." Charlotte turned to Madeline, extending a hand. "You must be Madeline. I've heard quite a lot about you." Madeline shook her hand. "Nice to meet you." Charlotte smiled knowingly. "Oh, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of each other." Alexander cleared his throat. "Charlotte is our new corporate strategist. She'll be working closely with me." Madeline nodded, professional. Inside, a tiny punch to the stomach. Charlotte walked beside Alexander into his office, talking, laughing, leaning a little too close. Madeline stared at her computer screen. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Why does it bother me? She didn't want to admit the answer. But the answer had a name. Alexander. By late afternoon, Madeline avoided his gaze the entire time Charlotte was around. Alexander noticed. Of course he noticed. He came out of his office when Charlotte left to take a call. Maddie, she typed. Didn't look up. Maddie still didn't look. He stepped closer, then put one finger under her chin and lifted her face. Look at me. She swallowed. What's wrong? Nothing. His eyes darkened. Don't lie to me. She crossed her arms. Why is she working with you? Because I hired her. Why? Because she's talented. And beautiful. His jaw clenched. So that's it, he whispered. She glared. Nothing, let me work. Nose. Alex. Nose. He leaned down, voice low. Are you jealous? She scoffed as if. He smirked. Madeline. What? If you're jealous, just say it. I'm not. He leaned in even closer. So you don't care if another woman stands next to me all day? Nope. You don't care if she flirts? Nope. You don't care if she touches my arm when she laughs? Madeline's eye twitched. He burst into a slow, wicked smile. You're jealous. I will throw my stapler at your head. He chuckled, actually chuckled. Maddie, if I wanted her, I wouldn't be losing sleep over you. She froze. He softened. You're the one I held last night, not her. Her heart did a somersault. She looked down, cheeks warm. Still not jealous. Sure, he whispered, smirking. Later, Madeline stepped into the break room for coffee. Charlotte entered right behind her. Oh, Madeline, she said sweetly, can I ask you something? Madeline nodded politely. Sure. What's your relationship with Alexander? Madeline almost choked on air. He's my boss. Charlotte smiled, too sweet. Just the boss? Yes. She kept smiling. That's great, because I'm planning to reconnect with him. Madeline froze. Reconnect. Charlotte leaned closer. We dated years ago, and honestly, I think we still have unfinished business. Madeline felt weird. Not jealous. Just punched. Charlotte sighed dramatically. And Alex never lets just anyone close, but me, I know how to handle him. Madeline's grip tightened on her cup. She forced a smile. Well, good luck with that. Oh, I don't need luck. Charlotte winked. He's always had a soft spot for me. She left with a confident strut. Madeline stared at her coffee, chest tight. Dated. Past. Soft spot. And suddenly last night in the elevator felt tiny. Breakables. Temporary. Madeline returned to her desk quiet, distant. Alexander stepped out immediately, sensing something was wrong. Maddie. Work, she said quickly. We need to finish the board reports. He narrowed his eyes. What did she say to you? Nothing important. Tell me. Nose. He stepped closer. Madeline. She kept typing. He leaned down until his face was beside her ear. Tell me, he whispered. Her breath stuttered. Alex not here. I don't care. She squeezed her eyes shut. Why did you hire her? He exhaled deeply. That's what this is about. Did you date her? Yes. Her heart cracked, not fully, just a tiny fracture. But it was years ago, he said quickly, before I became CEO. She said you have unfinished business. He went still. Then, he grabbed her wrist gently and pulled her into his office. Close the door. Listen to me, he said, voice low and fierce. I hired her because she's good at her job, that's it. But there is no unfinished business, not with her. Madeline looked away. He stepped closer until she was cornered against his desk. He tipped her chin up. The only unfinished business I have is with you. Her pulse went wild. She said you have a soft spot for her. He scoffed. Not anymore. Why not? Because, he said, leaning closer. I used it up on you. Her breath hitched. Alex. And for the record, he whispered, I don't care about her intentions, but I care that her words hurt you. She swallowed. I'm not hurt. You are. A pause. Then she finally whispered, I don't like the way she looks at you. He smiled slowly. Good. Good. It means you feel something. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. He dipped his forehead to hers, their breaths mixing. I want you, he said softly. Not her, not anyone else. Her voice shook. You're too close. He smirked. And yet you're not pushing me away. Her fingers trembled on the edge of the desk. He whispered, Maddie, I'm not letting her come between us. I don't care if she used to know me. Her eyes lifted to his. Why? Because she never knew this version of me. He brushed a strand of her hair back. The version who's falling for you. Her knees almost gave out. As the day ended, Charlotte left early. Madeline grabbed her bag and headed toward the elevator. Alexander followed her. Maddie. She turned. He looked serious, intense. I'll handle Charlotte. Madeline nodded. I trust you, she whispered. His eyes softened like melted gold. Do you? Yes. He stepped forward. You have no idea what that means to me. The elevator opened. Before she stepped in, he gently caught her wrist. Not pulling. Just holding for a second longer. Tomorrow, he murmured. Come to my office first thing, we need to talk. Her breath caught. About what? You and me. Her heart thudded. The doors closed. And she leaned against the elevator wall, pulse racing. Tomorrow. Everything might change. Madeline entered Alexander's office first thing in the morning, just like he asked. He was already standing by the window. Looking tense. Focused. Too serious. Morning, she said quietly. He turned. And for a moment the world softened. You came. Of course, you said we needed to talk. We do, he said, stepping closer. Her heart picked up speed. But before he could say another word, Charlotte burst into the office. Alex, there's a problem. He closed his eyes. Jaw ticking. Perfect timing. Always. Madeline stepped back. Alexander straightened. Yes. Charlotte handed him a tablet. Someone leaked internal contracts to the press, major ones. They're saying you hid losses. Madeline froze. What? That's not possible. Charlotte nodded gravely. It's already online. Alexander's expression went from warm to ice-cold CEO in a second. Call legal, call PR, call investors. Charlotte nodded and left quickly. Madeline swallowed. What do you need from me? He looked at her, intense, desperate for a moment of normal in chaos. Stay. Her breath caught. Stay here, don't go anywhere today. She nodded. Of course. He stepped closer, about to touch her, then stopped himself. Tonight, he said quietly, when this is handled we'll talk, I promise. She tried to smile. I'll hold you to that. He smirked softly. I hope you do. Then he walked out to face the storm. The building turned into a war zone. Phones ringing non-stop. Meetings back to back. People shouting in hallways. The headlines were brutal. Hartman Industries under fire. CEO Alexander Hartman accused of financial misconduct. Madeline's stomach twisted. This wasn't just a scandal. It was a career-ending disaster. She printed documents, ran analysis, contacted departments, doing everything before he even asked. Around noon, Charlotte returned, flustered. She looked at Madeline. "You're very calm." Madeline shrugged. "Panicking doesn't fix anything." Charlotte studied her for a second, then said quietly, "You really care about him." Madeline froze. Charlotte nodded, walking away. "I can see it." Madeline hurried back to her desk, her heart pounding. She did care. More than she ever intended. More than she was ready to admit. In the afternoon, investors demanded an emergency virtual meeting. Alexander used the big conference room. Madeline entered late, handing out updated reports. One investor glared at Alexander through the screen. "Mr. Hartman, these losses indicate either negligence or deliberate manipulation. Which is it?" Another snapped, "You're too young for this role. Maybe we trusted the wrong man." Alexander's jaw tightened. Madeline's chest burned. She stepped forward. Everyone turned. "Excuse me," she said politely, but her voice was like steel. "If you're going to accuse him, at least do it with accurate information." Alexander blinked. The investors looked stunned. Madeline continued. "These numbers weren't hidden. They were projected, documented, and discussed last quarter. You were all present. If you don't remember, I can send the recordings." Alexander stared at her like she just pulled him from drowning. And she added sharply, "The article online used outdated drafts, not final numbers. Anyone with basic accounting knowledge would see that." The investors looked embarrassed. One coughed. "Ms. Reyes, we didn't mean to." "Good," she said. "Then let's stop wasting time and solve the actual problem." Alexander was silent. But his eyes, burning, proud, grateful, and something deeper, something that made Madeline's legs weak. When the investors muted themselves to review documents, Alexander leaned close and whispered, "You didn't just defend me." She stared at the table. It needed to be said. "No, Maddie." His voice softened dangerously. "You protected me." Her face warmed. "I protect the company." He smirked. "Try again." She glared. "I protect everyone." He leaned even closer. "You always protect me." She swallowed. "I don't do it for you." "Yes," he whispered, "you do." Before she could respond, investors unmuted. But her pulse didn't calm for the rest of the meeting. Hours later, Charlotte rushed in. "We found something." Alexander and Madeline looked up. Charlotte handed him a folder. "The leak came from someone inside, and you're not gonna like who." Alexander flipped the file and froze. Madeline stepped closer. "What, who is it?" Alexander clenched his teeth so hard she heard it. "My cousin," he said quietly. "Jason." Charlotte nodded. "He accessed documents he shouldn't have, then forwarded them." Madeline felt sick. "That's betrayal." Alexander stared at the folder like it was poison. Madeline touched his arm gently. He didn't pull away. "Alex," she whispered. He shut his eyes. And for the first time since she met him, he looked tired. Not powerful. Not cold. Human. He opened his eyes and looked at her. "I'm okay," he lied. She squeezed his arm. "No, you're not." His throat worked. And then he said something no one ever heard from Alexander Hartman. "I don't know what to do." Madeline stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Then let me help you." He looked at her. Really looked. Like she was the only steady thing in his world. He nodded slowly. "Okay," he whispered. And that one word meant he trusted her completely. They worked late into the night, not glamorous work, but the hard, painful fixing of betrayal. At some point, Alexander's hands started trembling slightly. Not fear. Not weakness. Just exhaustion. Madeline noticed. She gently placed her hand over his. His breath caught. "Take a break," she whispered. "I can't." "You can for 5 minutes." He hesitated. Then he reached for her hand. Held it. Not forcefully. Just grounding himself. Her heart twisted. "Alex," she whispered softly, "you're not alone in this." His voice was hoarse. "I've always been alone." "Not anymore." He swallowed hard, staring at their intertwined hands. "You're going to ruin me," he said quietly. "How?" He met her eyes. "By making me feel things I shouldn't." Her chest tightened. "Then feel them," she whispered. He inhaled sharply. And for a moment, it felt like he might kiss her. But he didn't. He pulled back slightly, needing distance to survive the moment. "We need to finish this," he said, voice strained. She nodded. But her heart kept racing. They finally left the office together past midnight. When they reached the lobby, it was empty. Silent. Dim. He paused in front of the elevator. "Come here," he said softly. She stepped closer. He raised a hand, brushing the side of her face gently with his thumb. "You saved me today," he whispered. "You saved yourself, I just talked." "No." His voice dropped. "You held me together." Madeline's breath trembled. His hand slid to her jaw. "Slow. Soft. Dangerous." "Alex," she whispered. He leaned in. Too close. Breaths mixing. Foreheads almost touching. Her eyes fluttered shut. But then, he pulled away suddenly. Roughly. Pain flickered across his face. "I can't," he breathed. Her heart dropped. Not because he rejected her, but because he wanted her so badly it hurt. "Why?" she whispered. "Because if I kiss you tonight." His voice broke. "I won't stop." Her lips parted. And he stepped back, creating a distance that felt like a knife. "We'll talk tomorrow," he said softly. She nodded, barely holding herself together. He stepped into the elevator. The doors closed. And Madeline realized she was already in too deep. Madeline woke up the next morning with one thought. He almost kissed me. At the office, she walked in and braced herself. Alexander wasn't at her desk waiting. He wasn't packing. He wasn't hovering. He didn't even open his office door. He was avoiding her. Her heart sank a little. Okay, maybe he needed space. She tried to work. Tried to ignore the ache. But every time someone walked past her desk, she looked up hoping it was him. It never was. The worst part. She missed him. The intense version. The annoying version. The jealous version. The teasing version. All of him. By noon, she couldn't take it anymore. She knocked on his office door. Silence. She opened it slowly. He was at his desk, staring at his laptop like it had personally betrayed him. "Alex." He looked up. And that one glance held so much. Longing, fear, desire, guilt. "Maddie," he said quietly. She shut the door behind her. "We need to talk." He ran a hand over his face. "I know, I'm sorry I ignored you. I didn't trust myself." "Trust yourself with what?" He looked at her pained. "You." Her stomach dropped. He stood slowly. "I've been trying to keep distance because if I don't, I'll cross a line we can't ever go back from." She swallowed. Maybe that line is supposed to be crossed. He froze. What? She took one step toward him. Then another. I don't want space, she whispered. I want you to talk to me, look at me, not avoid me. His jaw clenched. Maddie, I don't want to hurt you. You're hurting me by pushing me away. He exhaled shakily. And then, he stopped holding himself back. He grabbed her waist gently but firmly, pulling her closer. She gasped. His forehead rested against hers. His voice was raw. Tell me to stop. She whispered. I won't. His breath caught. Maddie. Alex, don't run from me. He tightened his grip. He wasn't running anymore. That night, another emergency meeting forced them to stay late. Everyone else left the building quiet. Madeline stayed in his office helping him. At some point the power flickered. The generator kicked in, leaving the office dimly lit. She looked out the window. It feels like the whole world disappeared. It did, he murmured. She turned toward him. He was already staring at her. Maddie. Her chest tightened at the way he said her name. I need to tell you something, he said slowly. Something I've been afraid to say. She swallowed hard. Okay. He stepped closer. I don't just like you. Her breath stilled. I don't just think about you. Her pulse pounded. I don't just want you around. He took her hands in his. Large, warm, trembling. Maddie, he whispered. I'm in love with you. Her breath caught in her throat. I tried not to be, he said, voice cracking. I tried to keep things professional, tried to push you away, tried to stay in control. She felt tears sting her eyes. But every day I look at you, I lose every rule I've built for myself. Her heartbeat was thunder. He stepped even closer. I love the way you argue with me, the way you stand up for me, the way you make me feel like a human and not a CEO. Her lip trembled. I love the way you say my name. Her voice came out tiny. Alex. I'm in love with you, he repeated softly, desperately. And I'm terrified. Tears slipped down her cheek. He gently wiped them. Say something, he whispered. She didn't say much. Just 2 words. I'm scared. His heart broke a little. I know. But, she whispered, voice shaking, I think I'm falling in love with you too. He froze. Then inhaled sharply. Maddie. But she wasn't finished. And it scares me more than anything. His eyes softened. But that doesn't mean I don't want it. He closed his eyes like he'd just been handed something sacred. When he opened them again, his voice was barely a breath. Come here. He moved slowly, giving her every second to stop him. She didn't. She stepped into his arms, her hands sliding up his chest. He cupped her jaw gently, like she was fragile glass. Maddie, he whispered. Her eyes fluttered shut. His lips brushed hers. Barely. A feather-light touch. She gasped. He pulled back an inch. Is this okay? He whispered. Yes. So he kissed her. Soft at first. Tentative. A question. She answered by kissing him back. He deepened it slowly, like he'd waited his whole life for this. His hands slid to her waist. Hers curled into his shirt. The kiss was fire and warmth and relief, and everything they'd been holding back for months. He broke the kiss only to breathe her name against her lips. Madeline. She pulled him back in. He groaned softly, losing control. Her back hit the desk gently. He froze. Too much, he asked, voice rough. No, she whispered, pulling him closer. Come here. He kissed her again, deeper, slower, more desperate. This wasn't the cold CEO. This was the man beneath. And he was hers. His forehead rested against hers, both of them breathless. "I've wanted to do that for so long," he admitted, voice trembling. She smiled softly. "Me too." He brushed her hair back, fingers gentle. "We don't have to rush anything," he murmured. "We go slow, your pace." She nodded. "Okay. But I'm not letting you go," he added softly. "Good," she whispered. "Good," he smirked. "You're finally admitting you want me." She rolled her eyes. "Shut up." He laughed, actually laughed, and kissed her forehead. It was domestic. Soft. Intimate. Like they had been together forever. "We should probably finish the reports," she said. He groaned dramatically. "Don't ruin the moment. You're the CEO. I'm the man who just kissed you," he corrected. "And I want 5 more minutes." She blushed. "Fine, 5 minutes." He pulled her into his chest and held her. No ambitions. No powers. No coldness. Just him. Just her. Just them. By the time they left the office, it was almost 2 a.m. In the elevator, he stood behind her, hands gently on her waist. "Still okay," he murmured. She nodded. "Yes." He leaned down to whisper in her ear. "Good, because I'm nowhere near done falling for you." Her knees almost gave out. When the doors opened, he took her hand. Not letting go. Not caring who saw. He walked her to her car. "Text me when you reach home," he said softly. "I will." He opened her door. She got in, then paused. "Alex." "Yes." She looked up at him. "You can kiss me good night." He inhaled sharply, then bent down and kissed her slowly, sweet and warm and aching with affection. When he pulled back, he smiled. "I'm never going to get tired of this." She smiled back. "Good night, Alex." "Good night, Maddie." He watched her drive away, heart full in a way he'd never known. And Madeline's. She drove home smiling like a woman who finally let herself fall. Madeline arrived at the office the next morning glowing. She saw Alexander step out of the elevator. He looked at her. And for the first time ever, he smiled first. A soft, love-struck smile. She walked toward him. But just as she reached him, his phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID, and all the warmth drained from his face. "Alexander Hayes," he said curtly. Madeline waited, but his expression stayed tight. Cold. He ended the call. "Everything okay?" she asked carefully. "Yes," he said quickly, "just a business issue." But it was a lie. She could tell. Still, she trusted him enough not to push. Until the board meeting started. It was supposed to be a routine meeting. But instead, whispers filled the room. Madeline heard them. Everyone heard them. Is it true the CEO is romantically involved with his secretary? Is she using him for a promotion? Classic office climb. Poor man, he's being manipulated. Her stomach twisted. Her ears burned. Then, the CFO, Mr. Howard, said loud enough for the entire table. "I'm concerned your personal choices may compromise company reputation, Alexander." Every eye turned to her. She wanted to disappear. Alexander shut the laptop slowly. Deadly calm. "What exactly are you implying?" he asked coldly. Howard didn't hesitate. "That your secretary is influencing your decisions." Madeline felt her heart crack. Alexander's jaw clenched. "Madeline is the best employee I have." But Howard cut him off. "Sir, everyone knows she wants a higher position. She's using your interest in her to climb ranks." Madeline sucked in a sharp breath. Alexander slammed his pen down. "Enough." But the damage was done. Her throat burned. She stood abruptly. "Excuse me," she whispered and left the room. She didn't even look back. Alexander watched her leave as if someone carved open his chest. Madeline went straight to her desk, her heart in pieces. Minutes later, Alexander stormed out of the meeting. Maddie. She didn't turn. Maddie, look at me. She stood and finally faced him. Her eyes were glossy. I didn't want to be the reason people question your leadership. His expression softened painfully. Who cares what they say? You did nothing wrong. That's not how it looks, she whispered. They think I'm sleeping with the CEO for a promotion. He flinched. Maddie, don't listen to them, I'll fix it. She shook her head. This isn't just rumors, Alex. This affects your name, your company, your reputation. I don't care, he said firmly. You should. He stepped closer, voice breaking. Are you pulling away from me? She swallowed. I think we rushed into this. His face fell. No, don't say that. We didn't think about the consequences. He grabbed her hand. I'm in love with you, consequences don't change that. Her voice trembled. I just need space to think. His chest rose sharply. Space. She nodded. He let go slowly, like releasing something he treasured. Maddie, he whispered, please don't do this. But she had already turned away. And he didn't follow. For the next 3 days she avoided him. She answered emails. She kept things professional. She didn't look at him unless necessary. Alexander, meanwhile, was falling apart quietly. He worked late. He barely spoke. He lost sleep. Every time she passed him papers, he wanted to grab her hand. Every time she entered his office, he wanted to pull her close. But she kept the wall up. And he respected her space. Even if it killed him. On the 4th day, she walked into his office with documents. Here are the quarterly. Madeline, he said softly. She froze. I can't do this anymore. Her heart pounded. I can't pretend this doesn't hurt, he whispered. I can't pretend you're just my secretary. She swallowed hard. Alex. He stood. What changed? He asked quietly. What scared you? She finally looked at him. It's not you, it's them, the board, the rumors. I'll protect you from all of it. You can't protect me from what people say. He stepped closer, desperate. Do you regret kissing me? Her breath caught. No. He exhaled with relief. But, she whispered, I think you deserve someone who doesn't complicate your life. His expression shattered. I don't want someone else, he said hoarsely. I want you. Her eyes filled with tears. I'm leaving the company. Everything inside him froze. What? I need to start over somewhere I'm not judged, somewhere I'm not seen as this. No, his voice broke. No, Maddie, no. I already submitted my resignation. His world collapsed. He grabbed the desk like he needed support. You're walking away from us. She wiped tears. I'm walking away from the noise. He couldn't breathe. Maddie, please don't leave me. Her lips trembled. Goodbye, Alex. She turned. He didn't move. He didn't breathe. He just whispered, please don't go. But she walked out. And this time, he did follow. She exited the building, breathing shakily. He burst through the doors behind her. Madeline. She stopped. He ran up to her, breathless, eyes shining with panic. I'm not letting you walk out of my life. Alex. No, you listened. People glanced at them, but he didn't care. I love you, he said loudly. I don't care about rumors. I don't care about the board. I don't care if everyone thinks I'm insane. His voice shook. I'm not losing you over something this stupid. Tears escaped her eyes. I don't want to hurt your name. You're the only thing in my life that's ever felt worth fighting for. She covered her mouth with her hand. He stepped closer. I choose you, not the board, not the shareholders, not the rumors, you. She sobbed softly. But Alex. No, he said firmly, cupping her face gently. If you walk away, it won't be because we're wrong for each other. It'll be because you're scared. She stared into his eyes. He whispered, I'm scared too, but I'm still choosing you. Her voice trembled. I need time, not forever, just time. His shoulders loosened slightly. How much time? I don't know. He exhaled, pained but understanding. Then I'll wait, he whispered. No matter how long it takes. Her heart cracked open. She stepped back. He let her. She walked toward the street. Halfway down the sidewalk, she turned around. He was still standing there, watching her like she was the only thing he'd ever cared about. She whispered, Don't stop waiting. He whispered back, voice breaking, I won't. Madeline's resignation became official on Friday. By Monday, her desk was empty. Her mug was gone. Her sticky notes were gone. Her chair was neatly tucked in. Alexander stood in front of it like a man staring at the ruins of his home. Everyone felt the shift. The CEO who once ruled the building with ice and steel. It now moved like a ghost. He worked until dawn. He snapped at no one. He barely spoke. He stared at his phone, hopping for a text that never came. He read her resignation letter every night. I'm grateful for everything. But I need space to find myself again. It wasn't a goodbye filled with anger. It was one filled with pain. And that hurt him more. Madeline found a small part-time job at a co-working space downtown. Simple, quiet. Nothing like Hayes Industries. But every paperclip, every printer beep reminded her of Alexander. She'd catch herself turning to tell him a joke. And then remember he wasn't there. At night, she lay awake wondering if he was eating properly, sleeping properly, healing, or hurting. She missed him. His sarcasm. His intensity. His way of staring at her like she hung the moon. But most of all, she missed being loved by him. Truly loved. She told herself she needed space. Needed to be away from whispers and judgment. But being away from him felt like losing a part of herself. 2 weeks later, she got a job interview for a permanent position. She stepped into the corporate building and froze. Alexander was already there, standing by the reception, in a suit that screamed CEO, but with eyes that screamed I haven't slept since you left me. She inhaled sharply. He turned. Their eyes met. Time stopped. He took one step toward her, then another. Madeline, he breathed, voice breaking slightly. What are you doing here? She whispered. I could ask you the same. Her heart pounded painfully. I'm here for an interview. Something shattered behind his eyes. You're looking for a new full-time job. His voice cracked at the end. She nodded. He swallowed hard. So you're really not coming back? I can't, she whispered. Not after what happened. He stepped closer. You think I care about anything except you? Alex. No, he said firmly. You need to hear this. He took her hands. In the middle of the lobby. People staring. Phones recording. But he didn't care. I've spent the last 2 weeks pretending I can breathe without you. I can't. Her eyes welled with tears. I've tried to go back to normal, but without you there is no normal. She shook her head gently. Alex, people talked about us, they judged us, they said. I don't give a damn what they said. His voice lowered. What hurts isn't the rumors, it's waking up every morning and not seeing you at my desk. A tear slid down her cheek. Maddie. His voice softened. I'm not asking you to come back as my secretary. Her breath hitched. I'm asking you to come back as the woman I want to spend my life with. She stared at him in shock. He reached into his coat, pulled out a small velvet box. Her knees nearly gave out. Alexander, no. Yes, he said quietly. I've had this for 8 days, waiting, hopping, hurting. He opened it. A simple, elegant ring. Not flashy. Not expensive looking. Just beautiful. Just like her. I don't want a life where you're somewhere else, he said, his voice trembling. I want the life where I go home to you, wake up to you, fight with you, laugh with you. Her tears were falling freely now. Maddie, he whispered, getting down on one knee. The crowd gasped. Be the woman I love. Be the woman I choose. Be the woman who roasts me every morning. A watery laugh slipped from her lips. He smiled softly. Marry me. She covered her mouth with her shaking hand. Alex, I'm scared. He nodded. So am I, but I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. Her heart broke. And healed. All at once. She whispered. Yes. His eyes widened. Yes, he repeated, voice breaking. Yes, Alex, she cried softly. Yes. He stood so fast she laughed through her tears. He wrapped her in his arms, lifting her slightly, holding her like she was oxygen. The lobby burst into applause. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her hands, then finally, gently, her lips. It wasn't desperate. It wasn't heated. It was something deeper. Home. Epilogue 6 months later. The office was buzzing. Everyone was dressed elegantly. Flowers everywhere. The CEO was wearing a slight smile no one had seen before. The smile of a man who got exactly the miracle he wanted. Madeline walked into the room in a beautiful white dress. The staff gasped. Alexander's eyes softened instantly. He met her halfway down the aisle. You're late, he whispered. She smirked. I wanted to make sure you were still nervous. I'm always nervous when it comes to you. Her heart flipped. They exchanged vows quietly, intimately. And when they kissed, the entire company cheered. Epilogue scene, the office after marriage. A week later, she walked into his office with documents. He smirked. Mrs. Hayes. She rolled her eyes. I'm still your legal consultant, not your decoration. He pulled her onto his lap. Correction, he murmured into her ear, you're my wife. She blushed. Stop it, people can see. Let them, he whispered. I want them to see exactly who the CEO belongs to. She laughed.